Hi, I'm Mr. Gordon, and I'm going to be showing you how to make your own quiz in Scratch. So here's a quiz I've already made. We're going to be making one just like this. We go for one of the options and we can see if it's right or wrong. I got -5 points here because it was wrong. Let's go to a different question. And this time I got it correct and my score went up by 10 points. And then we get to the end of the quiz. So before you start, make sure you're logged in. If you're not logged in, if you haven't created an account yet, then please do. Otherwise, you're going to find you're going to lose your work and you're going to get very upset about that. So we're going to start off by creating some variables. This is where we can store information. And if we have a look at our game, we've got A, B, C, and D. So we're going to store the current value of each answer, so red, blue, green, pink with yellow spots, in these variables. So let's make these variables. So we're going to make a variable called A, and we're going to make a variable called B. Okay, so we've made one variable for each of the answers. And we also want to make a variable for the question title. So that's, for example, what is my favorite color here? So let's call this one question title. And we also want a variable for our attempt at the answer. So when I press B there, I want to say that my attempt at the answer is B. So we're going to call that the, let's call it the answer attempt. And we want to make a variable for what the correct answer is currently meant to be. So what is the correct answer meant to be? And we want to keep track of which question number we're on. So we're going to number our question. So this is keeping track of which question number we're currently on. And finally, we want to keep track of the score as well. So we've created lots of different variables there ready for us to use. Okay, so we're not going to need a cat in this game. And in fact, let's switch to the stage. So we're on the stage here. Our code that goes in here is actually going to be part of the stage, not part of a particular sprite. And we want to set up our first question. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to set the question title to be, let's see, what is your favorite color? Okay, so we're going to set the question title to what is your favorite color. And we're going to do all of this when the game starts for now. So when we start, we're going to set the question title to what is your favorite color. And we want to set the other variables as well. So let's set, and I'm going to use Control-C to copy that and then Control-V to paste it a few times. Just makes it a bit easier than having to drag it out 4 times. I'm going to set A to something, we're going to set B to something, C to something, and we're going to set D to something as well. So we're going to set A to, let's say, blue, B to orange, C to tiger yellow, and D to pink with yellow spots. Okay, so we've got our 4 potential answers there. So, I mean, we could put our question title at the top and change that to a large readout. And then let's just get these out of the way for now. Put the score at the top of the page, and we can see we've got these different answers. So what is your favorite color? Now what we can't do though is we can't actually click on these. So we're going to have to change something there. So because we can't click on them, we're going to have to bring in a new sprite to say like the A or the B next to it. If we look at our game here, so we want to have a sprite next to the variable. So let's change all these to the large readout where we don't get the letter, the name of the variable next to it. And let's just position those, making sure we've got them in the right order, A, B, C, and D, which they are in. And now let's add a sprite. So let's go to letters down at the bottom and let's add A. And we're going to add another one for B and another one for C and another one for D. And let's just position those roughly where we want those to be. So let's take that A, B. Oh, they're all a bit big at the moment, aren't they? We're going to have to make these a bit smaller. So we're going to change the size. Let's try 50. Yeah, that looks about right. So let's change all of those to size 50. 50, and 50. And let's just lay them out in a nice kind of straight line here. So A, B, C, and oh, when you're dragging these, you've got to actually touch on the shape itself. You can't touch kind of in between them. And actually, we're going to have to change that because we want to touch these to set our answer. So we're going to kind of want to have a bit of a background to them. In fact, let's make our background a bit more exciting than it is at the moment. What should we go for? Should we go for these circles? Oh, that looks a bit ghastly. Let's choose something else. Let's go for these stripes across the page instead. Okay, so we've got A, B, C, D, and then let's line up these answers roughly with those. And there we go. So we're going to go to A and go to costume, and we're going to give it a square in the background. So we're going to go to the square tool. Let's just make it white. That's fine. And let's just draw a square around it and then send it to the back. So we've got that square around the A now. The reason we've done that is so that we can click on there rather than just on the A shape itself. Now with that rectangle selected, so I'm going to have to go to the selection tool and select that rectangle. I'm going to press Control and C to copy that, and then B and press back and C and Control V again and put it to the back, and D, Control V again and put that to the back. So now we've got that backdrop behind all of them. I might want to just move that a little bit, like to the center of the frame there. See, I'm getting that central crosshair aligned on all of these, and there we go. So we've got A, B, C, D there now, and they're not quite in line, are they? Let's just line those up a bit more. There we go, that looks a bit better. So you could fiddle around with this as much as you want. Okay, so we want to start dealing with when we click on these letters. So let's go to A, and we want to say that when this is, when we click on this. So when this sprite is clicked, look, we're on A here. In fact, let me make this a bit bigger. It is a bit small for you to see, actually, isn't it, in the video, I expect. So when we click on A, we want to set a variable. So we want to set our answer. So set the answer attempt, or attempt at the correct answer, to be equal to A. So when we press on A, it sets that answer attempt to A. Now we're going to have to do the same thing for the other letters as well. One way we can do that, we can actually drag this onto each of those letters in turn. So I've dragged that onto B, and there we have it in B, and except in B we want to make that into a B, not an A. And again, we can drag that onto C now as well. If we look at C, let's change that to a C, and let's drag it onto D as well. So we're just copying it by dragging it onto the different sprites here. So when we're on D, we want to set it to D. We can see if this works. When we press A, it says A, B, C, D. Perfect. So now we're going to add some sort of indication of what letter we've clicked on. So you can see here I've got this little arrow that appears to the side as I go to the different answers. So we're going to do something similar. So let's go and add, are we going to draw one? Or are we going to find something that indicates, let's go for the crystal actually. Let's go for the crystal. So we want that crystal to appear next to the one that we've chosen. So we're just going to put it next to the C for now. Now, somehow we need to communicate when we're changing this answer. We need to tell the crystal to change position. The way we're going to do that is with a message. So I'll show you how to set that up. So we're on this A at the moment, and we can look at events, and we want to broadcast a message. Now we're going to make a new message on here, and we're going to say it's answer ready. So when the answer is ready, we want to show that crystal appearing. So when we press A, we change the answer attempt, and we're going to broadcast that the answer is ready. Now we're going to put that same answer is ready. We're going to broadcast that. We're going to send that message out from B and from C. I'm just Control V to paste in this. So we're sending out that message that the answer is ready. What we're going to do with the crystal is we're going to basically receive that message. So we're going to receive that message from the letters. that the answer is ready. And when we get that, we want the crystal to change position. So we want it to go up or down, up or down. Now up and down, that's the y-axis, while right and left is the x-axis. So we're going to want to change the y-axis depending on the value of that answer attempt. So we're going to add an if block, and we're going to say if something is equal to something else. So if the answer attempt is equal to A, then we want to set the y position. Set the y position to be, well, let's see, what do we want to set the y position to be? We want it up there next to the A, and we can see the y position there is 82. So if it's A, we want it to be 82. I'm going to take that block there, and I'm going to Control C to copy it again and paste that 3 more times. So I want 4 of those, and then join these back up together. So I'm going to have 1 for A, 1 for B, C, and D. So answer attempt A, we're going to set to 82. Let's change that to a B, and that one to a C, and that one to a D. And let's find out how much do I want it to be for B. I want that to be 11. And for C, I want that to be minus 55. We're under halfway of the page vertically now. And for D, I want that to be minus 122. And let's just try that out. So when we press those different letters, that crystal now goes up and down to the correct letter. So let's jump back over to the one I made earlier. So what we've got here is when we click on one of these answers, we indicate which one we've clicked on, and we've also got this button to check the answer. And when we click on that, we want it to kind of give us some points and lots of things happening there. So let's try and deal with that one. So we want let's just move these out of the way. We want a button to appear that will be for checking the answer. So we're going to paint a sprite for this one. And we're going to start with a rectangle at the back. Let's draw a rectangle there. And we want some text in there that says check answer. Now you might notice you can't see that text. That's because it's white. So let's make that text black instead so we can actually read it. And make that a bit bigger. So check answer, and we can make that box. If we select that box, we can kind of bring that in around the answer. The reason I'm putting a box around is for the same reason as for the letters as well. I want to make sure that I can click on anywhere, not just the actual text within that. And we can make that a bit smaller. So under size, let's make that size 40 maybe. And that looks fine. So there, we've now got something that says check answer. So what do we want to happen here? Well, when we press that sprite, when we press check answer, we want to check if the answer is correct and increase the score if it is, or decrease the score, or you can have your own system of working with that if it isn't. So, but we don't want it to appear all the time. We don't want it to always say check answer. So before we do that, let's make it so that at the start of the game, we're going to hide that check answer. So there we go, it's now hidden at the beginning. And we only want that to appear when we receive that message that an answer is ready to check. So we're going to show that only when we're ready to do the answer. So when we click on one of these, it now says check answer, but if we restart the game, it disappears. Okay, and now we want something to happen when we actually click on this. We want to check the answer. So let's do when the sprite is clicked, we want to kind of check if the answer is correct. So we're going to do a check, we're going to do an if else. So if it's correct, we're going to do something, otherwise we're going to do something else. So to check if that answer is correct, we're going to, oh no, that's not the block I want. I want an equals, there we go. If something is equal to something else. So if our attempt at the answer is equal to the correct answer, then we want the score to go up. So we're going to change the score. I'm going to make it go up by 10 for every correct answer. Otherwise, I'm going to say you actually lose points if you get it wrong. it's going to go up by -5. A, it's going to go down by 5. So let's see this working. So let's go on B, orange. Now the correct answer is, okay, so we haven't set the correct answer for this question yet. Let's make sure we select the correct answer first. So we could click on the backdrop for the code for this. So we set the question title and A, B, C, D, but we also want to set what the correct answer is to my favorite color. So question, correct answer. I'm not going to write the word of it, I'm going to write the letter of it. So the correct answer to this one, let's say it's blue. So let's say that's A. Okay, let's restart the game again. So you can see the correct answer is A and our answer attempt is C. So if I put the correct one, blue, and check answer, let's see what happens to the score. It goes up by 10, perfect. But if we go on the wrong answer, it goes down by 5. Excellent. So the next thing we're going to do, once we've hit check answers, we want a next button to appear. And when we click on next, we want the question to change. So let's have a look at this sprite, the check answer sprite. And what we want to happen is we want to broadcast another message, a different kind of message, once we finish changing the score. So let's go and broadcast a new message. So we're going to call this one ready for next. So it's when we're ready for that next button to appear. Ready for next. And we're going to broadcast that. So when it's clicked, we're going to change the score. We're going to broadcast ready for next. In fact, let's hide ourselves as well. We don't want to check answer again. So once we've done that, we want to hide it. Let's try this out. Check answer. Okay, that button disappears. Now we're going to listen for that ready for next message on a new sprite we're going to create. So we're going to paint another new sprite, and this will be for next. So let's do a nice rectangle again, and let's write the text next on here. Again, we're going to have to change that to black, otherwise we won't be able to see it. Next, and let's just, in fact, no, that's not, we're not going to draw the arrow with text. To make that bigger, we can just drag that up to make it bigger. And let's draw a nice little arrow on there as well. So next, and we've got an arrow pointing to the next question. Okay, we're going to make that a bit smaller. It's a bit big again, isn't it? So we're going to make that maybe size 30. And there we go. So we've got our next button. Maybe that text can come across ever so slightly, a bit too close to the edge for me. There we go. So in the code for this next button, what we want to do is we're listening for that message. Answer is red. No, we're listening for the message. What are we listening for here? That new message we made, which is ready for next. So let's listen for that. So when I receive ready for next, that's when we're going to appear. So we're not going to appear until then. And in fact, when the whole game starts, when the quiz starts, we want to make sure that we hide ourselves. So we're going to hide ourselves when the game starts, and then we're only going to appear when we're ready for that next question. Let's see if that works. So let's restart. Perfect. And now we want something to happen when we click on that. So when we click on the next one, when the sprite is clicked, we're going to increase the question number. So we're going to get to question number in a moment, but we're going to change the question number by 1. So we're going to increase the question number by 1, and we're going to reset our answer attempt. To make this crystal disappear, we're going to reset the answer attempt to 0. So we're unsetting the answer, and we're going to set a new event. We're going to broadcast a new event, which we're going to call ask question. So it's going to be asking the next question. So ask question. And also once we've clicked on that next button, we're also going to want to re-hide ourselves as well. So we're going to want to re-hide ourselves. And let's look at that in action. So we're going to select an answer, check it, press next, and we should see the question number goes up by 1. Perfect. So one thing that's annoying me a bit at the moment is this crystal stays there even after we've gone to the next question. We're going to want that to disappear. So let's go back to that crystal that marks which question we're doing. and we've got this which changes the position of it. And I think we will want to show it after we've set the position of that. We're going to show it, but we're also going to have it hidden when the game starts. So we don't want to show it when the game starts. And when we receive that message, saying that we're asking a new question, ask a question, we're also going to hide it. So when we go from one question to the next, we're also going to hide that crystal. And let's see that in action. So it disappeared at the start of the game. It appears when we click on an answer. And then when we go to next, it's disappeared from there. So at the moment, you can make your score keep on going up by pressing check answer and then the same answer. So we want to stop that being possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to one of the letters like A, and we want to add something in here that says when we're ready for next. So when we receive that message, ready for next, we're going to hide. So we can't click it anymore. So we're going to hide it, and we're only going to reappear when we receive another message. When we receive the message, ask a new question. So when we ask a new question, we're going to appear, we're going to show ourselves. And let's have a look at that. Oh, well, now we've disappeared completely. So at the beginning of the game, we also want to ask a question. So let's go to the code for the stage. And when we're beginning the game, we're going to broadcast a message to say, ask a question. We want to ask the first question at the beginning of the game. There we go. So, but we've only done it for A so far. We're going to have to do this same code here and here for B, C, and D as well. So, we're going to do this thing again where we drag it into all of the other letters. It's quite hard to see where I'm dragging it, but hopefully we will check afterwards that we've dragged it into the right place. You could also use Control-C to copy and Control-V to paste as well. Has that been pasted? Oh, it's all the way up there. So there's that code in B. Let's look in C. Again, we might have to just zoom out a bit. There's the code in C. And in D as well. There it is. So we've got all that code in all the letters now. So if we restart, choose a letter, check answer, you'll notice they've all disappeared there. And we get that next button and they reappear on the next question. So if we look at the game we made before, once we press that, we also get this tick appear next to the correct answer, even if it's not the one that you gave. So we're going to add that one in as well. So we're going to add a new sprite. Let's go for a pre-made one. Let's go for this tick. And we want it to be over here somewhere, and we want that to be a bit smaller. Let's go for maybe size 50 instead of 100. So we want it to go, for example, over there. Now, the same way as we have this crystal going up and down, so if we look at the crystal, we have this big block of code here. We're going to copy that one into that button. So when we're on this button, we've got similar code. We're actually going to change it a little bit, but this is to change where it is in terms of its height, so it's next to the right letter. On this case, now that we're on this tick, we're going to change it to receiving the message ready for next instead of answer ready. So we only want it to appear once we're ready for that next, when that next button appears. And we're going to just change the Y to the right numbers. So on A there, we want that to be 77. We can see if it actually works with the same numbers here. So if the answer attempt is A, we don't want it to be answer attempt this time. We want to do this if it's the correct answer. So we want it to appear next to the correct answer. So let's just move correct answer into these instead of what we had before. So we're going to put correct answer in there and the correct answer in there. So we might need to fiddle with these Y values a little bit, but we can assume it's going to be roughly the same as it was in the other case. I think the other thing we want to do is when we ask a new question, we don't want that to appear. So when we ask a new question, which is when we receive the message, ask a question, we want that small tick to disappear. So we're going to hide that small tick. And let's have a look at that working. So we're going to click on an answer, we're going to check it. So it's telling us the correct answer there was blue, but we guessed it would be orange, so we didn't get our points. So we're going to add in more than one question now. At the moment we've just got the one question, but we want to have multiple questions, and as we go from one to the next, we want the next one to appear. Let's just set some variables at the beginning of the game first as well. So we're going to set the score to be 0 when we start the game. And we want the question title. Okay, so we'll change this one in just a moment. And we want to change the question number to be 1. So we want to change the question number to be 1. And we want our answer attempt. So we want to change the answer attempt. Where's answer attempt on here? Oh, it's at the top. Answer attempt to be 0. So we don't want to have attempted an answer until we've actually attempted an answer. Now, let's just drag some of this out. So this is everything related to one question. So we've got the question title, the correct answer, and we've got the 4 different options for that. And we're going to want to do that for each question. So we're going to make our own block for this, a method or a function. And we're going to call this setUpQuestion. And we're going to be adding arguments. That is, it's going to take certain variables to it, and it's going to do things with those. So we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. The first one is going to be what the question is. The next one will be answer A, answer B, answer C, answer D, and we want one more, which is the letter of the correct answer. So adding our own block here, our own function. And there it is. So it's a bit of a beast. And what we want to do is actually move these into there. So we want to set this question title not to be your favorite color, but we're going to drag that question into there. We're going to set the correct answer to be the answer, and then A to be A, B to be B, C to be C, and D to be D. What we also want to do is when we ask a new question, we want to set up that new question. So when we receive a message to say ask a question, we want to check what the question number is and set a question based on that. So if the question number is equal to, so we want the equal to, if the question number is equal to 1, let's say, then we want to ask a particular question. So we want to set up a question, and we're going to set up a question which is, what is my favorite color? And it could be red, blue, green, or orange. A little bit more boring choices this time. And I'm going to say the correct answer for that is C. Let's go for green. So the correct answer is not A, not B, but C, not D. Okay, so now it's really easy to add another question. So we can just take this if block here, copy it, and this time we can say, what if the question number is 2? What is my favorite food? Is it pizza, pasta, rice, or toast? And my answer is A for that one. And we can do the same again, add another new question, this time question 3. What country do I live in? Is it USA, France, Australia, or the UK? And the answer for that one is D, the UK. To see how easy it is to add new questions, really, really simple, just on one line. And then right at the end, I guess that's probably fine. Let's just see if this works, if we have to change anything else. So what's my favorite color? And you've got the answers here. Blue, orange, wait, hang on. Why is it still, something's not working. I can see why. So we're changing, I put the wrong blocks in here. What I should have put in was change the question number and the answer attempt to a value. So I want to set them to a value, the question number and the answer attempt. So I want to set the question number to, I guess, 0. Actually, no, let's set the question number to 1, otherwise we won't have that first question. So let's see that working now. Ah, there we go. Red, blue, green, and orange. Check answer. Oh, it was green. So I didn't get any points. Right. So see how easy this is to add these new questions. Oh, now we need something to happen at the end of the game. So after our last question, we're going to add another new block. So this time we're going to say, in fact, let's just copy Control-C, Control-V, that one, and say if question number equals 4, then we don't want to ask a new question. Instead, we want to broadcast a new message. We want to broadcast a new message that says quiz ended. And we're also going to want to hide these variables. So let's get those variables and want to hide lots of them. So hide A, B, C, D. Which ones do we want to hide here? Hide all of these variables. And we want to hide the question title as well when the question ends. Now, if we're hiding them there, then when we begin the game, we're going to want to show these variables. So we're going to want to show these variables. Let's move that out of the way. I want to show variable A, B, C, D, and question title when it begins. So let's change those. And the question title. And let's see what happens. Okay. Excellent. So we've ended the game. And yeah, they all come back again for a new game. That's good. So, and we've broadcast this message to say that the quiz has ended. What we're going to do now is we're going to make an end screen. So let's make a new, let's paint something new just to say game over or end of quiz. So we'll make a white screen. How do we do that? Let's make a white box. Nice big white box, and we'll write the text on there to say quiz ended. Again, we have to change that color to black, and let's make that a bit bigger. And move that. Oh, a bit tricky to get hold of it sometimes. To say quiz is ended, and we'll put that down there so you can still see the score. And let's have a look at the code for this sprite. So we want to hide this when the game starts. So when the game starts, we want to hide. And when we receive the message, to say that the quiz has ended, that's when we want to show ourselves. And let's see if that works. Excellent, it says quiz has ended. Now we don't want to show question number, correct answer, or answer attempt. So we're going to go to variables. And so what have we got there? Question number, we don't want to see that. Answer attempt, we don't want to see that. And correct answer, we don't want to see that either. And let's just move this a bit more so it covers everything up and have another go. Perfect, and we can see our score there. So there are some more things you could do to this as well. So for example, on this version, I've got a ticker across up here and it tells you how many points you get. But I think that's enough for this particular video. So I hope you enjoyed that and I hope you enjoy making your quiz. Thank you.